As we approach the local government elections, there are fears that political-related killings could surge in KwaZulu-Natal, to be more specific. Now, this is after 3 ANC members were killed in a drive-by shooting in eNCA over the weekend. The deceased, all women, were delegates at an ANC branch general meeting discussing municipal election candidates. To talk more about this, we're joined by Vasu Gounden from the African Centre for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes. Vasu, thank you for your time and good morning to you. KZN, a region that, usually when there are, either general elections nationally or even locally, it seems expected could be protests or even political killings. Is this the story of the KwaZulu-Natal, province come elections?
Yeah, morning, Dumelo, and morning to your viewers. So I think, we should expect that there will be more killings, political killings in the province in the run-up to the local government election, because the underlying causes that existed when we sat on the Morano Commission. So as you know, Dumelo, I sat on the commission as one of the 3 commissioners led by Advocate Morane, Senior Counsel, and Professor Cheryl Potgieter was the other commissioner. And there, we looked at the underlying causes because of the spate of political killings that plagued the province for a long time. And we found at the time that the barriers of entry into politics were very low. We're dealing with, not just in KZN, but in the entire country, with seething poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And so, when you have the barriers of entry into politics being very low, you don't need a degree to get into politics, you just need to be popular. So overnight, if you got elected, you went from poverty into the middle class. Yeah. Now, those underlying circumstances haven't changed. And once you get in as an elected councillor, you immediately get access to resources. Of course, you also get access to the tender process. Right. You can do business deals. And 5 years later, if you haven't maintained your constituency and somebody else has become popular and you're voted out, you go back into poverty. And this has led to a vicious struggle for power. Those underlying conditions have not changed. In fact, they've gotten worse. So it's socio-economic conditions that are going to drive the killing.
So are we saying that this problem is even bigger than the ANC? Because obviously, even with the Morano Commission and with everything that's been happening, Police Minister Begitele also looking into, these incidents or the killings in eNCA with 3 ANC members, women at that, were killed after that branch meeting. Are we saying that this problem is even bigger than the leading party?
Yeah, I think they're certainly bigger than the ANC. This is not an ANC problem. This is a political problem. This is a problem of weak political leadership across the board. And this is why, when we saw the 5 days of rioting and looting in July, and if I compare it back to, the middle 80s, late 80s, I was student president here during the state emergency, 1985, 1986, where we led thousands onto the streets. But then there were cohesive political organizations, strong political leadership, and so you were in control. Why we saw the escalation during the looting and the rioting and the scale at which we saw it was because political movements are not in control of the ground. And this is a serious problem that we have today.
Yeah. 1st November is, of course, election day. What do you foresee here, Vasu? Should we be expecting more protests coming from the province? Should we expect to hear more stories and incidents of violence, assault, or as far as killing within the province? And what do you think then can be done? Because these are people's lives at stake. So these are not just numbers. These are family members. These are mothers, fathers, loved ones. What are your projections here?
Tumela, I have to tell you, sitting on that commission for almost a year was very, very traumatic, because you listen to those stories of young kids about their parents, about, brothers about their brothers who were killed, and husbands about their wives and wives about that. It was really traumatic to sit on that commission. So we don't want to see this happen again. The politicians know what to do. And I think measures have been taken over the last few years to try to put, some mitigating factors in place. Firstly, to deal with the tender system. The Zondo Commission is there to deal with corruption. So it's a long, long process. I don't think we're going to deal with it and see the problem dealt with in this local government election. Most of the killings we found in the commission was at the local level. So we're not going to see an abatement of that. So let's be realistic. You're going to see political killings, okay, during the run-up to this election. What we saw also around 2015, as you know, was violence against foreigners, because, the issue of foreigners is a popular issue among South Africans. And for a councillor to get elected, the easiest thing to do is to raise the issue of foreigners and, that foreigners should get out of townships, etc., and leave their businesses. Now we know that that's happening. And the political parties must take measure, including the security agencies.
Right. Because
there's a huge weakness also in the cohesiveness of our entire criminal justice system, meaning intelligence, police, and then the courts. We need to bring all of that together, even if it's for a month. We need to do this to mitigate the situation and prevent those killings from taking place, to prevent a possible violence against foreigners. We don't want to see that. We know there are early warning signs, so measures must be taken. And we are working with the provincial government, with the security agencies currently as a code to try to see how we can mitigate.
Yeah, and I like the word you use there, prevention, prevention, prevention. Vasu Gounden, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning.